I do want to understand where and how and the origin of dowry practices in India.
Okay, so is dowry an Indian word?
I don't think so.
No, it's not. It's an English word. And dowry has a meaning. It means all the goods and valuables, land, etc., that a woman brings to her husband at the time of marriage. Please note the word to her husband. Okay. So this is dowry. Did dowry exist anytime, anywhere in the past, in ancient India, in any Shastrik, Smriti or Shruti? No, it did not. The word Dahej, which we are all very familiar with, it's even seen to be a Hindi word. It's not a Hindi word, it's an Urdu word. And its origins are from Persian and Arabic jahez, which means getting things together, collecting something. So dowry and it segues with that, it gels with that. So collecting things to give to your daughter. So it comes from Arabic, Persian roots. It's not a Hindi word, it's not a Sanskrit word. In Sanskrit, there is no word for dowry. What does exist, however, is something called Stree-Dhan. What is Stree-Dhan? It is the goods and valuables that a woman brings into the marriage at the time when she comes to her husband's house. Are these things meant for her husband? No. So that is the big difference between dowry and Stree-Dhan. Stree-Dhan is for the vadhu, for the wife. Who does it go to? Suppose, once she dies, or who inherits it? Her daughter. Who inherits it from the daughter? Her daughter. So this is a uniquely, woman-centric way of disposing of valuables, giving women a security net and giving them something that they could rely on. And the inheritance was strictly across the board by all lawgivers. Nobody disagrees on Stree-Dhan. Nobody. Stree-Dhan is only for women. Now this Stree-Dhan was also defined. Manu defines it in a particular way. Kautilya defines it in a particular way. But roughly what we can say is that these were brass or copper vessels for the kitchen and whole set. Then there would be valuables as in gold, jewelry, precious stones. Third thing would be clothes. So these were the kind of things. And what are these? These are movable. So it was also a kind of difference because of the patrilocal marriage. Movable items, and it would be roughly 25% would go to the girl who was getting married and the rest to her brothers. And if there were many sisters, then some proportional difference would be made. I'm just giving you rough figures.
Yeah.
These would be given to her at the time of her marriage to take to another village because it was patrilocal marriage. Now, it is a very strange thing that this, which was made as a safety net for women, in the 20th century, it became a noose around the neck of women. And you heard of dowry deaths, you heard of insistence on dowry, and it has become what is called a social evil. So how did this happen? How did something which was Stree-Dhan, which was meant for the protection of women and which was again a uniquely different tool for inheritance of women, I think across cultures this is unique. How did it turn into this noose for women? For this again, I have to sound again like a broken record. Many of the customary practices of people at the village and at the local level were interfered with by the British, and property laws were changed. So let me give an example, and I will recommend a very important book by Veena Oldenburg, which is called Dowry Death. I think all Indians should read this. She has made a very deep dive into revenue records, especially in Punjab, to look at the way in which different ways of revenue settlement, Raiyatwari settlements were done by the British. How did they impact property, immovable property as well as movable property? So what happened during the Raiyatwari settlement was that certain customary arrangements in the village, communal ways in which land and property was thought of, was changed. It was individualized. The Raiyat became a proprietor, an individual, and the Raiyat was a man. So many things which used to belong to men and women together started belonging to the man. So produce from land, for example, belonged to both men and women. Now it started belonging only to the man.
Why?
So
what was the rationale to make that change?
Oh, because
the
British were trying to, they were trying to sort out the revenue system so that they could get the maximum revenue from agriculture. This ties in with what I was telling you of the way in which they destroyed agriculture in this country. They wanted to gouge out the maximum amount of money. So then they wanted to make individual people responsible. You have to give me the tax from this piece of land. You have to give me the piece of tax from this piece of land. Communal ownership does not lend itself to this kind of absolutely personal responsibility to pay revenue, to pay the different kinds of agricultural tax. So this Raiyatwari system was a disaster at many levels because it led to over exploitation and heavy pressure of agricultural taxation and destruction of agriculture in India. On the other hand, it led to a masculinization of the ownership of assets in the village.
Watch the full episode on the VARC Indian History YouTube channel and podcast. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, share. We would love to have your support.